So hi, welcome to Gaze Viewer Uses and How-Tos. I'm Susan Norwell, an educational specialist and co-founder of Rett University. I listened to a post on Facebook from a mom who was wondering if her daughter was seeing the entire width and breadth of the device and felt that she was only focusing on the middle. And Jen Facinelli suggested using Gaze Viewer, and I thought, hey, this would be a great course to do because using Gaze Viewer to some people is like, what? Didn't even know it was there, don't know what it is, and don't know how to do it. So that's what we're going to learn today. So let me just talk about some uses for Gaze Viewer. You could use it to assess a range of visual access, like what quadrants is your kiddo actually looking in, using favorite items. So in other words, sometimes that bouncing ball that they use for calibration isn't exactly their favorite. But if you throw up a frozen video and they start looking around at the various things, you get a better sense of what their visual access is versus what their visual access is they want to have versus what they actually have. And I don't mean that in a way like, they're always trying to fool us, but some kids are really, it's a hard thing to learn language. They are so into videos and so used to things being easy all the time that, and just entertaining versus them having to put out any work, that it can be a challenge with them when they're first starting to use an eye gaze device. You can map their visual tracking and reading, so you can start to look at how they're processing print, which is very important. It's one of the big threes in terms of learning to read. You can view their tracking in smaller increments than in the Snap to Grid, and so you're going to see little tiny eye movements. You get a sense too. I always find it kind of amazing to watch the videos of their screen capture of their eyes, in watching how often the eyes move off target and then come back, how much the apraxia does affect the smoothness of their ability to track across the screen. Also, it gives you an idea of what their interests are in movies. And so instead of having to have a movie and then you're talking about it with their device, so they're moving back and forth, you can actually watch where their eyes are in the movie and use that as a basis for having a discussion. Could be movies, could be books online, could be videos, anything that you can put online. You could be running Gaze Viewer in the background and seeing what it is that they're really interested in. I knew a mom in England once that did this with her older daughter who had a lot of carers. And when the carers saw that she was looking at things that made sense, their estimation of her cognability went up like so many fold. Like they could see that she really was bright because of what she was looking at. Pretty cool. So here we are, and through the magic of technology, I am screen capturing my iSeries onto my computer using Splashtop, which I also use to remote into people's devices so that I can model in real time. Great piece of software, has not failed me yet. I should knock on something. But Gaze Viewer is on all iSeries devices for about the last, I think, 4 or something years. If not, you could probably get it for a free download. They used to charge for it, but they don't anymore. And when you open it, it looks like this. I recommend that you record gaze and sound. All right, so that you record gaze and sound, because it helps to know the context of what's happening. It also helps if you turn your volume up fairly loud, because I have found that it doesn't pick up sound quite as well as I would like it to. You can always turn it down later, but it's better in the capture. If you're recording just the gaze, you're not going to have the context of what the heck they're doing, which is difficult in my mind. So like if you say, oh my gosh, look at that cool dress she's wearing, and the eyes go over to the dress, there's some recognition in terms of language comprehension, but also inability to access that area. So we're always looking at kind of two things. There's also a place where you can turn on live gaze, and that's what I'm going to do today, so you can actually see what my eyes are doing. I have some kids, and that's what I would do if I was, trying to have a conversation about something and I wanted to see what they were interested in. But I will warn you that I have some kids that I've worked with when I've tried to do this for reading and their tracking and things. freaked. I mean, they hated having their eyes on live. And so I would do it with it off and then come back and watch the video myself instead of seeing it happen live. This all records into a video. The video only records for 30 minutes, so just be conscious of that. So you're going to get 30 minutes of recording, and then it's going to shut down and ask you if you want to save it. All right, so right now we're going to record gaze and sound. I'm going to turn on live gaze. Oops, you can see those are my eyes. I'm looking at the tent. I'm going to go look over here, and I'm going to record gaze and sound. Okay? And then I'm going to minimize it. Super. I'm going to go to Firefox, which was on here. Not now. I just want to get there. And I'm going to go to YouTube. And you can see my eyes are actually tracking everywhere I'm going. So I'm not just typing letters without looking. It's all tracking all the way across. I'm looking up at where the menu is. Do you see how helpful this can be, though, to figure out where you could... so let's take a look at descendants as an option.
Polly Talking Compact! It's like a real unicorn horn.
And of course, there are always ads.
So much fun. Penguins!
Sorry.
Love it! Polly Talking Compact. Each so sexy.
Okay, let's get rid of that ad.
I want to get Jane something special for her birthday. You got some ideas?
Bacon of the Month Club. Ow!
Got it.
You didn't count to 3.
Sorry. Make her something. I know Jane. She'll like that. What are you gonna do without me? Are you really set on Short Forest University? Because you know it's really far away and all they have is trees, right? Oh yeah, but the Arrows won the turning bolt last 3 years. You know, all I care about is the game. You talk tough. You're gonna miss us. Mostly me. Oh, mostly me. Yeah, mostly me. Mostly me. You're probably right. There it is.
Okay, so a couple of things about this particular video that I just chose at random is it has some print. So is the kiddo showing any? You could see me reading the print because my eyes were going all across it. As speakers changed, I looked from one side to the other. If you are curious as to whether you have a kiddo that can reach the upper right-hand corner or the lower right-hand corner or the left corner or the upper left corner, or the bottom middle, then what you're going to have to do is curate your videos a little. All right, I just picked a video at random, but you might pick a video that has a lot of action in one of those areas so that you can figure out where the heck they're looking. But as you can see, I'm kind of changing where I look, and it's picking up my eyes and tracking across so that you can really see where my eyes are hovering. And if I move really slowly, you can see it move across. But if I move really quickly up to the top, it just kind of bounces back up to the top. So Gaze Viewer can really be helpful. And if you were to put on a book, you could take a look at that also. So let's do that next.
Mom and I.
All right, so let's take a look at using eye gaze with a book. And so I'm reading the title of the book, and you can see my eyes tracking across it. Now, the thing about using Gaze Viewer running through my computer is it's not really letting me access the device. In other words, this doesn't have like a click. It's not letting us activate the device. Which is okay. It's just because that's what I'm having to do right now to actually do this process. There we go. So we can see where the kid is looking in terms of the eyes and tracking down to another word. Even if they go there briefly and not long enough to activate it, they're there. And are they looking at the beginning of the word and then reading toward the end of the word? That would be really cool, wouldn't it? And then they want to turn the page. So again, where do they go first? Then where do they go to read the word? All right, can you take a look for that word that says apes? From the beginning, there you go. And dolphins, again, from the beginning, all the way across. And then we're going to turn the page. Get a lot of information. I hotspot my book, so when you look up at the baby line, you look at the mom line, they all light up. But you can also look at what they're saying about it. That's a good line. It's taking care of the baby. When we turn the page. And now when we look at text, we can look at where they start. Again, I hotspot this so it highlights in chunks, but that gives you the chunks. It doesn't get you the individual words. And so it's really nice to be able to see where kids are reading. Now, I have found with a lot of my kids, they start in the middle, they go over, and they have to work really hard to get to that left side. And they might stop at midline and then have to regroup and come back to do the rest of the book. But Gaze Viewer is really handy for lots of things. And like the original reason I did this was because there's this little girl whose mom posted and said, I think she's only looking at the middle. She only might be looking at the middle long enough to activate things, but she actually might be using her eyes to get to the outside corners, and we're just not seeing it because it's so fast. And so it does kind of help to see what they're actually seeing. This is tracking the eyes in little milliseconds, which is little tiny milliseconds, which is way faster than what you get when you're doing the snap to grid. So it can be really helpful when you are trying to do something with the kiddo in terms of figuring out what's going on for them visually. So here you've got, a baby in this side, and you've got the mom over here, and there's a bird down there in the corner. So you've got plenty of things to look at. So just think about, some pictures of things they like. I'm not a big proponent of Barney for 28-year-olds or over dependence on really kind of babyish things. But in this case, if that's what they like, then that's what we do. We put stuff up there that they love, and we see where they're tracking. So I'm going to go into edit here, and I'm going to exit communicator, and I'm going to pull up my Gaze Viewer again. It's on at the bottom. Oops. Come on, Gaze Viewer. And I'm going to tell it to stop recording. All right, so now I have a lot of options. Look at all those eyeballs. That was so cool. So I can save the video. And I can save it with the heat, turn the heat map off. So the heat map is off. Now all I'm going to see is the little eyeballs. And let me show you what that looks like if we play it. Sound. Okay? And then I'm going to minimize it. Super. I'm going to go to Firefox, which is on here. And you can see how I'm tracking across to get to the not as the default. Go to YouTube. every letter I'm looking at, you're going to see me get to. And you can see my eyes are actually tracking everywhere I'm going. So I'm not just typing letters without looking. So here you can see the eyes really going across the print. I'm going to go up and I turned on heat map, which is right up here, up at the top. I turned on heat map instead of just the eyeballs showing up. Now it's showing how long they're dwelling. So the redder it is, the longer they're dwelling. So you can see interest areas, not just where the eyes are landing. And I think this can be really helpful because maybe some kids have more staying power with their eyes in certain locations versus others. So the reason we did this, remember, let's go back, is because this woman posted about her daughter, and she thinks she's just looking in the middle. And Jen Facinelli very wisely said, have you run Gaze Viewer to kind of see what's going on? Now, a lot of people don't even know Gaze Viewer's there, and they don't know how to use it, thus this video. So wonder if the little girl is just dwelling longer in the middle, but she actually is getting to the 4 quadrants. She just doesn't have the sustaining of gaze to make things click there. So I might play around with the dwell. I would really take a look at that dwell and see if we shorten the dwell, if she's going to be more successful in the 4 quadrants. Or I would give her things like this that she might be interested in that have things in the corners that are going to make her, versus just a language, just the icons, but videos or things that are pictures that are exciting to her, that have a lot of different things for her to see, so that she can use her eye gaze to do lots of things in different areas. And maybe by doing that, we might get a little bit more action out of those eyes in different locations. I have a lot of kids that'll look up at the word elephant, come down to the elephant, which is really kind of cool. So that is it. I hope you enjoyed this short course. Please check out our other courses at Rett U. And if you want to get a hold of me, this is my email address, Susan Norwell at rettu.org. All right, bye.